Hello again, fellow hustlers. This is Curtis Walker from GoHustlerGo.com, the website and podcast that is designed to deliver to you first-class, high-end information related to personal development as well as online marketing skills. So, in today's podcast, we're going to be talking about the power of taking action. So, before we dive deep into the topic, I wanted to share with you a personal story. Now, I'm 58 years old. I was born around 1968. And during that time, there were a lot of TVs and sitcoms that actually were on the air. Now, as a kid growing up, there was no such thing as streaming services. There were only certain sets of channels. And I know even growing up in my neighborhood, we only had 4 TV stations, 4 TV channels that were on. And as a kid, you didn't have to look at the clock. You literally could just know what TV program was on, and that could tell you what time it was in a given day. Now, in my case, I had my set TV shows that I would love to watch when I was a younger kid. So one of my favorites that I used to watch, and I'm going to say if you're a younger generation, you probably never even heard of this TV show, but it was a show called Gilligan's Island. It was about these 7 people who went on this boat trip, and while they were on this boat trip coming out of Hawaii, they actually ended up getting stranded on some deserted island. And so this series ran for years and in reruns, and it went on for quite a while. And these castaways, through one event after the other, they never made it off the island. Now, there was one day though, when I was a kid during the summertime, school was out, so I had an opportunity actually to sit down and chill and watch the show. And I took a nap just prior to the show while I was waiting for it to come on. And as I was sleeping, I had left the TV on. So as I left the TV on, the show was playing. So as I'm somewhat incoherently hearing the show, my mind started connecting to what I'm hearing in the show, to the point where what I was dreaming was me actually being on the island, having the experience of what I was hearing on the TV. Now, I mean, it felt real. It felt vivid, as though I was right on that island, having the full experience that they had, trying to figure out ways to protect themselves from the native, come up with food to eat, and then come up with some sort of plan or whatever to get themselves off the island. But it felt real. Now, even though it was a dream, it still had that feeling of being real, but there was no action to it. So I say that story to say this to you. Now, there's one thing to get motivated, there's another thing to get excited, and then there's also the thing about planning and dreaming about what you want to do. I know, like, I'll use an example of taking a vacation. There are people I know who are so meticulous about a vacation. I have this friend, she travels, she's in this travel club and she travels all the time. So she's meticulous about planning where she's gonna go, the season that she's gonna travel, the locations that she's gonna travel. She makes a list of things she wants to experience when she travels. But she travels several times a year, and she is very intentional about how she plans for it, not just with the trip, but also with her money, with her packing, making sure everything is done to the T, so that when she's on that plane traveling to her destination, she's getting the full experience of it. And I know then there are those who, they love talking about locations that they always wish they could go to. They dream about this, they dream about that, and what they're going to see and what they want to experience. And I know that the city I grew up in, the city was called Pontiac. I don't live there anymore, but it was Pontiac, Michigan. In that area that I grew up in, believe it or not, there were some people I encountered that were my age when I was like in my 20s and 30s that had never left out of the city. I mean, they may have went to like some neighboring cities that was only a couple of miles away, but they've never actually ventured too far beyond that. Now, Michigan is pretty big, and some of them have never traveled to the next county. They've had ideas and thoughts about it. They watch things on the news as far as what's out there, but never actually took the active steps to go and travel and go see things. So I'm trying to spell this out to you like this. Whether you're trying to start a business or jump into something new, you might not be happy with the condition of life that you're in, you want to make some changes. Do more than just think about it. Actively make a plan about the change you want to make. Get detailed about it, but don't get so wrapped up in just making plan after plan and then researching, because you can get so engrossed in that it'll actually feel like you're taking action when you're really not making any moves whatsoever on your dreams, on your desires. So at least put 1 or 2 things within your given day that'll help move the needle in your life. Take some sort of action where it requires you to make some sort of commitment, whether it's you are calling someone or making some sort of reservation or signing up for some particular program. If you're going to do some sort of online marketing, it could be getting out there and registering your domain name and getting ready to start building your WordPress website, or getting an autoresponder or setting up your first funnel. But whatever it might be, get out there and take some form of action. The action will actually help give you motivation to keep taking more and more steps of action. So, but once again, I don't want to belabor this particular topic and make this podcast run on too long, but I do want to inform you that we have so much more to offer over at our website, over at GoHustlerGo.com. Over at GoHustlerGo.com, we have a wealth of information when it comes to our blogs that we put out. And the content that we're putting out are helpful tips and tools in the area of motivation, inspiration, as well as tools and techniques and skills to help you with developing an online marketing business. And we also have a library that we're developing of training courses as well as books. But the one thing I really just want you to take advantage of is our blog site, and as well as signing up for our newsletter so you can join our community. Now, once you get out there and you get started and you start taking this in and you start getting excited, before you get too, excited, I want you to actually stop and ask yourself, or no more so, trick yourself. Act as though you just paid for a course. When you read it, don't just sit there and read through it and say, oh, that was some nifty stuff. I want you to look at it and say, I just paid $1,000 for this blog or this particular document I just read. So since I paid that much money, I need to put this into practice so I can get some results from it. I need to hold GoHustlerGo.com. I need to hold Curtis Walker deeply accountable for what he just said to me to see if what he said will work. Hold me accountable. Act like you just paid a lot of money for it. Because when you start investing in yourself, then you start getting better quality results out of your experience, out of life. So I hope to connect with you. And also, if you got questions or comments or anything like that, as you read through the newsletter, it'll give you information on how to reach out to me so that we can actually develop higher, better quality programs and things for our podcast program for you to get your questions answered. And I just want to say thank you for actually taking the time to listen to this. So get out there and work on your hustle, work on your grind, get hungry, and make some great things happen out there for yourself, your life, and your career. So once again, this is Curtis Walker at GoHustlerGo.com. Been my pleasure working with you today, and stay hungry.